Building a startup is like throwing yourself into the Grand Canyon with all the material that you need to build a plane. The only catch is that you're gonna have to build that plane and start the engine before you hit the ground. Hey startup founders, Christian Peverelli here with another episode of Behind the Movement. I'm the co-founder of WeAreNoCode, and our mission is to empower the next generation of non-technical entrepreneurs. And this channel is all dedicated around empowering people and helping them to accomplish their dreams in doing so. So as you can imagine, in this episode, I'm gonna be talking about how to start a startup from scratch. And I'm gonna take you through a couple of steps. But before that, I wanted to take you into a quote that was said by Paul Graham, who's actually the founder of Y Combinator, who says that building a startup is incredibly counterintuitive. So it goes completely against the things you might have learned at your 9-to-5 jobs or building traditional companies. And it's incredible to think that over the past 50 years, Silicon Valley has been perfecting the art of building startups. Yet I can't help but see hundreds of thousands of founders who are building things completely the wrong way, and it's causing them hundreds of thousands of dollars of their savings and years of their time. So the aim of this video is to take you through the basics of how to build a startup from scratch, and I hope that this is gonna be valuable for you in your journey. And so before I get into that, I wanted to talk about the classic route that people take when they're building their startup. It usually goes something like this. Someone comes up with an idea, they spend a lot of time talking to friends about it, doing research around it, getting positive feedback from their inner circle, and they automatically think that they need to build out a product and a business plan or pitch deck, potentially even try to raise capital. Now, unfortunately, this is the route that usually causes people to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and spend years of their life with very little traction to show for it. So let's talk about why it's important to employ the right methodology to build your startup. The first thing is that you want to de-risk this startup. There are a huge number of assumptions behind your startup. You need to reduce the risk of the startup because you are going to be investing your time and your money early stage in this startup. And so really reducing the risk just basically makes it a calculated investment instead of just throwing money up in the air and hoping for the best. Great, now let's jump into step one. The first step is to define your hypotheses. So essentially, when you come up with a business idea, there are all of these different factors, all these different assumptions that make it a very high risk startup, right? You are making assumptions about the market, you are making assumptions about the problem, you are making assumptions about the solution that potentially do not fit the market realities. So we want to really, first of all, write down all of those assumptions, and some of them are going to be very key towards sort of the business itself. So a great example here is Airbnb. One of the major assumptions with Airbnb was that individuals who have a second home would be interested in renting that second home out to strangers, right? If that assumption was proven right, then absolutely there was a business model, and as we know, that's absolutely what happened. If that assumption was proven wrong though, Airbnb would have had to completely change their model. So first main thing is really to write down the core assumptions behind your business and business model so that you can go about testing those out and de-risking your project. Step two. Once we've identified these different hypotheses, we want to put them to the test. And the first test is going to be, is the market that I've identified, or is the segment of individuals who I think are going to be my customers, in line with what I'm talking about with this business? And so we're going to go ahead and do customer discovery, which essentially is a set of interviews where you are not talking about your product at all. You're trying to understand the current dynamics of your market or your future customers. Now, the aim of customer discovery is to understand what your customer segment wants, and more importantly, who your customer segment is. So getting very specific about the different market segments or the different customer personas, these are also a different way of saying it, is going to be important because you want to hold these conversations and understand, am I going after the right customer? Or is my solution better for a different customer? So the bottom line is that we want insight from who we believe are going to be our customers. Step 3, building a smoke test or a problem solution fit. So here, the real aim here is that right now we have some information about our customers or the people we believe will become our customers, But obviously, as we all know, humans have this huge gap between what they say and what they actually do. So we want to put that to the test. And taking these customers' words for it is not enough for you to know whether or not they are going to actually be willing to take an action that shows that they are actually interested in the offer that you have to propose. So we're going to build out a smoke test. What is a smoke test? A smoke test is essentially testing out if people are willing to take an action that is in line with them willing to buy the product. Obviously, the biggest validation is going to be someone taking out their credit card and paying for something, but we want to target which specific action we think is the closest to actually purchasing that we can use to be able to figure out whether people are actually interested in what we've presented. So what we do is that we build essentially a smoke test. Now this smoke test is your value proposition. Now a value proposition is essentially the benefits that a customer will get in using your product. So you build this first product that makes it seem like you figured everything out, like you're a fully fledged company, and you start going out and seeing if you're able to get people towards this platform or website or landing page and to perform the action that tells you, yes, what people have said is in line with what people are willing to do. Now, that's pretty much step 3. It's going to be to really lay out your value proposition in a way that speaks to your target customer and to basically test whether or not people are taking the action you're requiring. You're also going to want to attach analytics and tracking to that smoke test so you can understand if people are not taking the action that you're looking for, what is their behavior when they are faced with your value proposition, right? Step 4. Now we're going to go ahead and try to get people towards this smoke test or to sell directly to people. So to actually go out there and try to acquire customers to come to that smoke test and see how they actually act. So here you're going to be selling before you actually have built a product that can fulfill the need of the customer. Now I know for many people that can feel incredibly uncomfortable, but at the same time, when you weigh out your options, you could be building something that people don't want. And that's a much bigger risk from you. And this methodology is to protect you as a startup founder. And yes, potentially some of those customers will be lost, but it's much better than having you spend loads of time and money on the wrong thing. Trust me. So the point of going out there and selling is that you're actually going to see how people respond to that value proposition and see what their objections are, understand what it is that is holding them back from wanting to take that action. But that's the reason why we're both trying to generate traffic towards that smoke test, but also going out there and selling in person and using smoke test as kind of like a business card, right? Or, the screen of your store. You both want to get data from the tracking and analytics, but also you want to have a deeper understanding of these objections and all the things that you're going to naturally face once you bring this product to market and you've built it. I'm sure you can guess it. Step 5 is to actually build out your MVP. So at this point, MVP, by the way, is your minimum viable product. And the way that I define that is basically the product that solves the problem that the customer has. So it's essentially a product that people are willing to pay for, right? Unless, of course, you have a different monetization model, and we'll go into that in different video. But here what we want to do is really build out only 1, 2, or 3 features that are going to get people over the pay line. So of course we could build out the entire experience, but again, that's going to take a lot of time. And if there is real demand behind this product, people, or at least the right customer, your beachhead market, is going to be actually excited to use this product, even if it's not perfect. And the biggest saying here is if you are launching your product and you do not feel uncomfortable about that first product, then you are launching way too late. And launches are totally overrated. A launch for us is more about just getting feedback from a customer so you can create an experience and a product that they actually want to purchase. So don't think of launching like this huge thing. Airbnb launched about 6 times. You should take a lot of pressure off of that, and you should be treating building your startup like an experiment. And of course, the last step, once you've actually built out that first product, you're gonna be able to fulfill, and at that point, you'll have earned the money that you have charged these individuals for the product. So I know that this is very counterintuitive, but essentially what it does, it minimizes the risk that you take as a startup founder. What it also does is that it basically allows you to very quickly understand whether or not there is a real need for your product without having to build the whole thing out. And for you as a founder, that is literally the name of the game. As soon as you've learned this methodology, then you will be able to launch products way quicker and honestly spend most of your time on the one that ends up picking up. And of course, a lot of people come to me and say, Christian, I don't know how to code. Well, guess what? There's this awesome new technology called no code, a set of tools that allows you to build platforms without having to learn how to code. And that's actually what we teach within our core program at WeAreNoCode. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video and seen a little bit of value from it. If you have any questions, feel free to jot them down below. Smash that like button, share this with a friend if you liked it, and we'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome day and take care, my friends. We'll see you soon.